This half-mile-long, 300-foot-high viaduct has an interesting history. It carried coal trains until 1959. After being placed on the National Historical Register and becoming a state park, starting in 1990, it carried a tourist train operated by the Knox and Kane Railroad.
We were on our way to go camping in July, Joanne and myself, and on our way we stopped at Kinzua Bridge State Park. This is just east of Kane, the Kinzua Bridge.
When it was built in 1882, it was the highest railroad trestle in the world, 301 foot tall and 2,052 foot long.
There's a tourist train that comes from Marionville through Kane, crosses the bridge, turns around at the other end of the bridge. It's probably slowing down now to allow people a chance to take pictures. Is crossing the Kinzua Creek. Kinzua Creek actually runs into Kinzua Dam. This is a structure at the state park itself. We were quite fortunate to get there when we did because we happened to meet the train during its one daily trip.
In 2003, while the bridge was being reinforced, a tornado made its way up the Kinzua Valley and tore out its center sections. The original bridge was built in 1882 using wrought iron for the supporting structures and locally quarried stone for the foundations. At that time it was the tallest railroad bridge in the world. In 1900 the bridge was dismantled and rebuilt using steel supports to accommodate heavier trains.
Quite an interesting story on this locomotive. This tourist railroad went to China and bought this as a new locomotive. It's made at a plant in China that our government funded back in the 1920s, and the Chinese still make and use this particular locomotive. The plant was built by Baldwin Locomotive Works
And built Mikado locomotives.
Our railroads ran quite extensively, used this locomotive up through the 40s. Here's a close-up of the locomotive. It's classed a 282. Left here and then went to a campsite overlooking Pine Creek Gorge. This is the next morning, looking down in the gorge as the fog is coming up from the valley.